The dust storm came without warning. One moment, 8-year-old was helping her mother pick vegetables in the greenhouse. The next moment, the sky turned orange and the wind screamed like a wounded animal. His mother grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the shelter, but the wind was too strong. It pushed backward and ripped her small fingers away from her mother's grip. She heard her mother scream her name, but the sound disappeared into the howling storm. Tried to run back to the greenhouse, but she could not see anything. The dust filled her eyes and nose and mouth. She covered her face with her arms and stumbled forward, hopping to find a wall or a door or anything solid. She walked for what felt like hours. When the storm finally calmed down, looked around and felt her heart drop into her stomach. She did not recognize this place. There were no buildings here, no greenhouses, no people, only rocks and strange purple plants and a sky that was turning dark. She was lost. Wanted to cry, but her father always told her that crying does not solve problems. So she wiped her dusty face and looked for shelter. The nights on 442B were very cold, and she was wearing only her thin work clothes. She found a cave between two large rocks. It was small and dark, but it would protect her from the wind. Crawled inside and hugged her knees to her chest. That was when she heard the sound. It was a soft sound, like a baby bird crying. Looked deeper into the cave and saw something glowing in the darkness. The glow was weak and flickering, like a candle about to die. Was scared, but she was also curious. She crawled toward the light. What she found made her gasp. It was a creature unlike anything she had ever seen. It was about the size of a cat, with smooth silver skin and large black eyes. Two thin wings grew from its back, but one of the wings was torn and bleeding. The creature's body glowed with a soft blue light, but the light kept flickering on and off. The creature looked at with its big sad eyes. It was afraid of her, she could tell. It tried to move away, but it was too weak. His heart hurt when she saw the poor thing suffering. She did not care that it was strange. She did not care that it might be dangerous. She only knew that it was hurt and alone, just like her. She took off her jacket and slowly moved closer to the creature. It made a scared sound, but spoke to it in a soft voice. "It is okay," she whispered. "I will not hurt you, I want to help." The creature seemed to understand her tone. It stopped trying to run away, carefully looked at its wounded wing. The tear was deep and still bleeding. Remembered what her brother taught her about first aid. She tore her jacket into long strips and gently wrapped them around the creature's wing. The creature cried out in pain, but it did not bite her or scratch her. It seemed to trust her. When she finished bandaging the wing, sat back and looked at the creature. Its light was still weak, but it had stopped flickering so much. "Are you hungry?" asked. She reached into her pocket and found the nutrient bar she had saved from lunch. It was her only food, and she did not know when she would find more, but the creature looked so thin and weak. She broke the bar in half and held one piece out to the creature. It sniffed the food carefully, then slowly ate it from her hand. When it finished, its light glowed a little brighter. Smiled. "Good. You need to eat so you can get strong again." She ate her own half of the bar, even though it was not enough to fill her stomach. Then she leaned against the cave wall and looked out at the darkening sky. She wondered if her parents were looking for her. She wondered if was worried. Her brother was 16 years old and always acted tough, but she knew he loved her very much. He would be so scared right now. The temperature dropped quickly as night came, started to shiver. Her jacket was now bandages, and she had nothing to keep her warm. The creature made a small sound and slowly moved closer to her. Its body pressed against her side and felt warmth spreading through her. The creature's glow grew stronger, and heat came from its silver skin. "You are keeping me warm," said with surprise. "Thank you." She wrapped her arms gently around the creature, being careful not to touch its hurt wing. The creature made a sound that was almost like purring. Its light pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Did not know that this creature was called a. She did not know that it was sacred to the alien species that lived beyond the mountains. She did not know that she was in territory where humans were forbidden to go. She did not know that healing was supposed to be impossible for anyone except the most skilled healers. She only knew that she had found a friend in this dark and scary place. As started to fall asleep, she whispered to the creature, "I will call you. It means sunshine in my grandmother's language, because your light is like a little sun." Made a happy sound and pressed closer too. Together, the lost human child and the injured alien creature slept through the cold night. Far away in the human colony's family was in panic, was crying and blaming herself for letting go of his hand, was arguing with the colony guards, demanding that they send search parties into the storm. "The storm is too dangerous," the guard captain said. "We cannot risk more lives. We will search when it calms down." "My daughter is out there," shouted. "She is only 8 years old." Stood in the corner, his hands shaking with anger and fear. He knew his little sister better than anyone. She was brave but small. She was smart but still just a child. She could not survive alone in the wilderness. He made a decision. He would not wait for the storm to calm down. He would not wait for the guards to organize a search. He would find himself. Quietly left the room and went to his bedroom. He packed a bag with food, water, medicine, and a tracking device. He put on his warmest clothes and his strongest boots. Then he climbed out of his window and disappeared into the night. He did not know that his path would take him into territory. He did not know that his sister had already done the impossible. He did not know that this night would change the history of two species forever. All he knew was that his little sister needed him, and he would walk through fire to bring her home. The next morning the storm was gone. The sky was clear and purple, the way it always looked on 442B. Woke up with still pressed against her side. The creature's light was stronger now, a steady soft glow instead of a weak flicker. Smiled and gently touched his head. "Good morning, you look better today." Made a happy chirping sound, but then its big eyes suddenly looked toward the cave entrance. Its body went stiff with fear. Heard voices outside, strange voices speaking in a language she did not understand. Then she heard footsteps, many footsteps, coming closer to the cave. Shadows fell across the entrance. Tall figures stood there blocking the light. They were not human. Held tight and pressed herself against the cave wall. Her heart was beating so fast she could hear it in her ears. The aliens had found her. The aliens were tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large silver eyes. They wore long white robes and carried weapons that glowed with strange energy. Their faces showed no emotion, but their eyes were cold and hard. Counted 5 of them standing at the cave entrance. The one in front was bigger than the others, with marks on his robe that looked important. He pointed his weapon at and spoke in his strange language. Did not understand his words, but she understood his tone. He was angry, very angry. She held against her chest. The little creature was shaking with fear, its light flickering wildly. "Please," said in a small voice, "please do not hurt us." The tall alien's eyes moved from to the in her arms. His expression changed. For a moment he looked confused. Then he looked even more angry than before. He shouted something to the other aliens. 2 of them moved forward and grabbed his arms. They pulled her out of the cave and threw her onto the ground. She held onto with all her strength, refusing to let go. The aliens surrounded her. Their weapons pointed at her head, closed her eyes and waited for something terrible to happen. But then a new voice spoke. This voice was old and calm, like water flowing over smooth stones. Opened her eyes and saw another alien walking toward them. This one was very old, with wrinkled blue skin and eyes that had turned white with age. He did not carry a weapon. He walked slowly, using a tall staff for support. The old alien said something to the angry one. They argued for a moment, their voices rising and falling. Finally, the angry alien stepped back, his face showing frustration. The old alien knelt down in front of. He looked at her with his cloudy white eyes and felt like he could see inside her heart. Then he looked at. His old eyes went wide. He reached out with a trembling hand and touched this glowing body. When he pulled his hand back, there were tears on his face. He spoke too, but she did not understand. He seemed to realize this and closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he spoke in broken but understandable human words. "This creature," he said slowly, "was dying. Our healers said she could not be saved. How did you heal her?" Blinked in confusion. "I did not heal her. I just bandaged her wing and gave her food and kept her warm." The old alien stared at her for a long time. Then he stood up and spoke to the angry alien again. This time, the angry one looked shocked. He looked at like she was some kind of monster. The old alien turned back to, "I am elder, you are in sacred territory. By our law you should die for being here, but you have done something impossible. The child comes with me. I must understand." The angry alien, who later learned was called Commander, did not like this decision. But he did not argue with Elder. It seemed the old alien had power that even the Commander respected. Was taken to a place unlike anything she had ever seen. The city was made of crystal and light. Buildings floated in the air, connected by bridges of solid light. Everything was clean and perfect and cold. The people stopped and stared as walked through their city. They whispered to each other and pointed at the small human girl carrying their sacred creature. Some looked curious. Some looked disgusted. Some looked afraid. Elder brought to a large building filled with more. Hundreds of them floated through the air, their lights creating a rainbow of colors. They all stopped and looked at when walked in. Chirped happily. She seemed to be talking to the others. The other made sounds back, and soon the whole building was filled with their music. Elder watched this with amazement. "They are welcoming her back. They thought she was dead. They are thanking you." Smiled shyly. "I am glad she is okay." The old alien studied his face. "You truly do not understand what you have done, are bonded to emotions. We have cared for them for thousands of years, but we have never been able to heal one who was so close to death. Only you, a human child, could do this." "Why?" asked. Elder shook his head. "That is what I must discover." Meanwhile, had tracked his sister's signal to the edge of territory. He stood on a hill and looked at the alien city in the distance. He knew humans were not allowed there. He knew he might die if he went further. But the tracker showed signal coming from inside that city. Took a deep breath and started walking. He did not get far. Guards appeared from behind the rocks and surrounded him. They did not give him a chance to explain. They hit him on the head and everything went dark. When woke up, he was in a cell. His hands were tied behind his back and his head hurt badly. Through the crystal walls of his cell, he could see guards watching him with cold eyes. Commander came to see him. The commander's face was twisted with hatred. "Two humans in sacred territory in one day," said. His human words were better than Elder's, sharp and clear. "This is not accident. This is invasion." "I am looking for my sister," said. "She is just a child. She got lost in the storm. Please, I only want to take her home." Commander laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Your sister has touched our sacred creatures. She has broken our most important laws. She will be punished, and you will be punished with her." His heart filled with fear for. "She is only 8 years old. She did not know. Please have mercy." "Do not have mercy," Commander said. "We have law, and the law says you both must die." He turned and walked away, leaving alone in the dark cell. Back in the sanctuary, did not know about her brother. She was sitting on the floor, playing with and several other who had come to meet her. They seemed to love her. They flew around her head and landed on her shoulders and made happy sounds when she laughed. Elder watched from a distance, taking notes on a glowing tablet. He had been observing for hours, and what he had seen amazed him. They responded to human emotions in ways they never responded to. When was happy, the creatures glowed brighter. When she was sad, they tried to comfort her. When she was loving, their bodies actually healed and grew stronger. It was the love. Elder finally understood. Humans had something they had lost long ago. They had powerful emotions, wild and uncontrolled. They had removed strong emotions from their society thousands of years ago. They thought emotions were dangerous and primitive. But now Elder wondered if they had made a terrible mistake. A guard came and whispered something to Elder. The old alien's face became worried. Noticed what is wrong. Elder sighed. Another human has been captured, a young male. He says he is your brother. Jumped to her feet. Where is he? Is he okay? He is in prison. Commander wants to execute both of you. His face went pale. Execute? You mean kill? But we did not do anything wrong. Please, Elder, please help us. The old alien looked at the small human girl, begging for her brother's life. He looked at, glowing bright and healthy in his arms. He looked at the other, circling around like she was their mother. He made a decision. Come with me, he said. I will take you to your brother, but I cannot promise I can save him. Commander has powerful friends, and there are those among my people who would rather see all humans dead than admit we have something to learn from you. Wiped her tears and stood up straight. I do not care about danger. I need to see my brother. Elder smiled for the first time. You are very brave for such a small creature. I am human, said simply. Elder nodded slowly. Yes, I am beginning to understand what that means. They walked out of the sanctuary together, the old alien and the young human girl, with a glowing leading the way. None of them knew that they were walking toward a storm worse than any dust storm, a storm of hate and fear and violence that would soon tear both their worlds apart. The prison was cold and dark, nothing like the beautiful crystal buildings in the rest of the city. Sat in the corner of his cell, his wrists bleeding from the tight ropes. He had tried to escape 3 times. Each time, the guards had beaten him and tied him. He thought about, was she scared? Was she hurt? Was she even still alive? The not knowing was worse than any physical pain. Then he heard footsteps, light footsteps too small to be guards. His head snapped up. There on the other side of the crystal wall stood his little sister. She looked tired and dirty, but she was alive. She was alive. He jumped to his feet and pressed his hands against the wall. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? Shook her head, tears were running down her face. I am okay. I was so worried about you. Behind could see an old and a strange glowing creature. The creature flew through the crystal wall like it was made of air and landed on his shoulder. It made a soft purring sound and rubbed its head against his cheek. That is, said, smiling through her tears, she likes you. Elder touched the wall and a door appeared. He stepped inside the cell and looked at with his cloudy white eyes. So this is the brother, the old alien said. He has the same fire in his eyes as the sister. Please let him go, begged. He only came to find me. He did nothing wrong. Elder held up his hand. I am trying, child, but Commander has brought this matter to the High Council. They will decide your fate tomorrow. What will they decide? Asked. The old alien was quiet for a moment. I do not know. Many on the council hate humans. They believe your kind is dangerous and should be removed from this planet. We are not dangerous, said. We just want to live in peace. I know that now, Elder said, but others do not. They only see what humans have done on other worlds, the wars, the destruction. They are afraid. Felt anger rising in his chest. So they will kill us because of what other humans did. That is not fair. No, Elder agreed, it is not. Suddenly flew off his shoulder and floated in front of his face. Her light pulsed in a strange pattern, almost like she was trying to tell him something. Then she flew back to and wrapped herself around the little girl's neck like a scarf. Elder watched this with great interest. Thou has chosen your sister. I have never seen such a strong bond form so quickly." "What does that mean?" asked. "It means has decided to stay with you. She will share your emotions, your thoughts, your life. This bond is sacred to my people. It might be the only thing that can save you." That night Elder brought into his home. It was a simple place, not fancy like the other buildings. Books and scrolls covered every surface. Strange plants grew in pots by the windows. "You must rest," Elder said. "Tomorrow will be difficult." Could not sleep. She sat by the window, looking at the alien stars with glowing softly in her lap, sat next to her. "I am sorry," whispered. "This is all my fault. If I had not gotten lost, you would not be here." Put his arm around her. "Do not say that. I chose to come find you. I would do it again 1,000 times. Even knowing we might die." "Even then," he kissed the top of her head. "You are my little sister. I would do anything for you." Leaned against him. "I love you." "I love you too." Light grew brighter, responding to the love between the siblings. In the other room, Elder watched and wrote in his book. Human love was even more powerful than he had thought. The next morning, the High Council gathered in the Great Hall. It was an enormous room made entirely of crystal, so clear that you could see the sky above and the ground below. Hundreds of filled the seats, all watching as and were brought before the council. Commander stood on one side, his face hard with anger. He spoke first. "These humans have violated our most sacred laws. They entered forbidden territory. They touched our holy creatures. The punishment for these crimes is death. I ask the council to carry out justice." The council members murmured to each other. Many of them nodded in agreement. Then Elder stepped forward. "I ask the council to consider new evidence." He told them about healing. He told them about the bond between the human girl and the. He told them about his research, about how human emotions could do things that emotions could not. "These humans are not our enemies," Elder said. "They might be our greatest allies. The child has shown us something we forgot long ago, the power of love." Commander laughed coldly. "Love? You want us to spare these creatures because of love? Love is weakness. It is why humans are so primitive. We removed such foolish emotions from our society because they made us weak." "Did they?" Elder asked. "Or did they make us strong in ways we have forgotten?" The debate went on for hours. Stood quietly, holding his hand with wrapped around her shoulders. She did not understand most of what was being said, but she understood that her life depended on these cold, emotionless aliens. Finally, the head counselor raised his hand for silence. "We will vote. Those who believe the humans should die." Many hands went up, felt her heart sink. "Those who believe the humans should live." Fewer hands went up, not enough. The head counselor nodded slowly. "The vote is clear. The humans will be executed at sunset." Felt the world spinning. She heard shouting. She felt light flickering with distress, but everything seemed far away, like she was underwater. Then something happened that no one expected. Flew off his shoulders and rose into the air. She began to glow brighter and brighter, so bright that everyone had to cover their eyes. She let out a sound unlike anything they had ever heard from her. It was a scream of pure anguish. The other in the city heard it. They came flying through the walls, through the ceiling, through the floor. Hundreds of them, then thousands, filling the great hall with their light. They surrounded and forming a protective wall of glowing bodies. They stared in shock. They had never done anything like this before. They had never defended anyone, not even their caretakers. Elder's voice was barely a whisper. "They are protecting her, all of them. They have chosen her." Commander's face was pale. "This is impossible." "No," Elder said. "This is love. Something you have forgotten, Commander. Something we have all forgotten." He looked at the head counselor. "They have spoken. Will you go against them?" The head counselor looked at the thousands of glowing creatures surrounding the two young humans. He looked at the small girl standing in the center, tears running down her face, holding her brother's hand. He made his decision. The vote is changed. The humans will live, but they must stay here under Elder's care until we understand this bond more fully. Felt her knees go weak with relief, caught her before she could fall. But even as the council members left the hall, Commander stood in the shadows, his eyes burning with hatred. He had lost today, but he would not lose forever. He began to make plans, dark plans, plans that would soon put both species in terrible danger. 3 weeks passed, and lived in Elder's home, learning about thee and their sacred. Every day, scientists came to study, and they measured her emotions. They tested her blood. They watched how they responded to everything she did. The news spread across the planet. Humans in the colony heard about and the miracle she had performed. Some were proud, some were scared, some did not believe it at all. Governor, the leader of the human colony, sent a message to the council. She asked to visit and negotiate peace between their peoples. After much debate, the council agreed. Was so excited when she heard the news. Maybe I can see Mama and Papa. Elder smiled at her. Perhaps. Governor is bringing a small group with her. Your parents may be among them. The day of the visit arrived. Governor came with 5 other humans, including a scientist named who specialized in alien biology. And walking behind them, their faces full of tears and hope, were and Mama, Papa, ran across the great hall and jumped into her mother's arms, held her daughter so tight that she could barely breathe, wrapped his arms around both of them, tears streaming down his weathered face. My baby, kept saying, my precious baby, I thought I lost you forever. Stood back trying to look strong and mature. But when his father opened one arm toward him, he ran forward and joined the family embrace. They watched this display of emotion with mixed reactions. Some looked disgusted by such primitive behavior. Others, including Elder, looked thoughtful. A few even looked envious. Flew around the reunited family, her light pulsing with joy. The emotions she felt from were the strongest she had ever experienced. Governor watched all of this with a politician's careful eyes. Then she turned to the High Council and began to speak about peace and cooperation between humans and. But not everyone wanted peace. Commander had spent the past 3 weeks gathering allies, other who hated humans, other who believed the old ways were the only ways. Together, they had formed a secret group with one purpose, to destroy the humans and anyone who supported them. They called themselves the Pure Ones. While Governor spoke to the council, the Pure Ones put their plan into action. They planted explosives throughout the city. They positioned fighters at every exit. They waited for the signal. The signal was simple. The moment the first human set foot in the sanctuary. Elder wanted to show the human scientists how interacted with the. He brought the whole group to the sanctuary, unaware of the danger waiting for them. The moment they walked through the door, the explosions began. The first blast knocked off her feet. She hit the ground hard, her ears ringing. Through the smoke and dust, she could see figures running and screaming. She could see fire spreading across the beautiful crystal walls. She heard her father's voice somewhere in the chaos. Papa, she tried to stand, but another explosion threw her down again. Wrapped herself around his head, protecting her from falling debris. The little light was flickering wildly with fear, but she did not leave side. Found his sister in the smoke. He grabbed her hand and pulled her toward a corner of the building that was still standing. Their parents were right behind them. What is happening? Cried. Attack, said. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. Someone is attacking the city. Through the broken walls, they could see fighting. The Pure Ones wore black marks on their faces to identify themselves. They were killing anyone who got in their way, including their own people. Commander walked through the destruction, his weapon glowing with deadly energy. He saw Elder trying to protect a group of injured and pointed his weapon at the old alien. "You betrayed our people," said. "You sided with the human filth. Now you will die with them." Elder stood his ground. "You are the betrayer. You are destroying everything our ancestors built." "I am purifying it," replied. He raised his weapon. Saw what was about to happen. He did not think. He did not hesitate. He just moved. He ran across the burning room and threw himself at Commander. That was much bigger and stronger, but surprise attack knocked him sideways. The weapon fired, but it missed Elder. Roared with anger and threw against the wall. The young human hit the crystal hard and slumped to the ground, blood running from his head. Screamed. She tried to run to her brother, but another explosion blocked her path. Fire surrounded her. She was trapped. Flew around in frantic circles, crying out in distress. The other in the sanctuary were panicking, their lights flashing wildly as they tried to escape the flames. Closed her eyes, she could feel fear. She could feel the fear of all the. It was overwhelming, like drowning in a sea of terror. But underneath the fear, she felt something else. She felt love. Love for her brother, lying hurt across the room. Love for her parents, fighting to reach her. Love for Elder, who had protected her when no one else would. Love for and all the beautiful creatures who had welcomed her into their world. She held onto that love. She let it fill her heart until there was no room for fear. And then something incredible happened. The love inside began to flow out of her. She could feel it leaving her body like warmth from a fire. It spread through the air and touched every in the sanctuary. The creatures stopped panicking. Their lights stopped flickering. Instead, they all began to glow with the same steady golden light, matching the love that was sending out. One by one, they flew toward her. Dozens of them, hundreds of them. They surrounded her and lifted her into the air, forming a cocoon of living light. The fire could not touch her inside the cocoon. The explosions could not hurt her. She floated above the destruction, protected by the love she had given and the love she had received. But did not care about her own safety. She cared about the others. She focused her love on her brother. She imagined the love flowing from to him, healing his wounds, giving him strength. Across the room opened his eyes. The cut on his head stopped bleeding. He stood up slowly, looking at his hands in wonder. She focused on Elder, who was surrounded by pure ones. They heard her call and swarmed toward the old alien, creating a shield of light around him. She focused on her parents, on Governor, on all the humans and friendly trapped in the burning building. Everywhere she sent her love, the followed, protecting and healing. Commander watched in horror as his attack fell apart. The humans should be dead. The traitors should be dead. Instead, a small human girl was floating in the air, surrounded by sacred creatures, undoing all his work. He raised his weapon and fired at. Saw the energy beam coming. Without hesitation, she flew in front of and took the hit herself. The little fell from the air, her light going dark. "No!" Scream echoed through the burning sanctuary. She caught in her arms. The creature was still alive, but barely. Her body was cold. Her light was gone. Held her friend close and cried. All the love she had been sending out now focused on one small creature. She poured everything she had into, begging her to live. The other felt desperate love. They understood what she wanted. They understood what needed. They all came together above and their lights combined into one brilliant beam that shone down on the injured creature. The beam was so bright that it pushed back the fire. It was so powerful that it knocked Commander off his feet. It was so pure that even the pure ones had to look away. When the light faded, his eyes opened. Her body was warm again. Her glow returned, brighter than ever before. Laughed and cried at the same time. "You came back." The little chirped happily and wrapped herself around his neck. Commander lay on the ground, defeated. His followers had fled. His plans had failed. And standing over him was, holding a fallen weapon. "Is it over?" asked, floating back down to the ground. Looked at the commander who had tried to kill them all. He could end it now. One shot and the threat would be gone forever. But he lowered the weapon. "It is over," he said. "We do not kill, that is not who we are." Commander looked at the young human with confusion. "Why? I tried to kill you. I tried to kill your family." Looked at his little sister, standing in the ruins of the sanctuary, surrounded by glowing creatures of light. "Because she taught me something. Hate destroys, love builds, and we choose to build." Elder walked over, supported by Anne. The old alien was injured but alive. He looked at with tears in his cloudy eyes. "You have done more than heal today, child. You have healed wounds between our peoples that are thousands of years old." Did not feel like a hero. She felt tired and scared and sad about all the destruction around her, but she held close and leaned against her brother's side. "I just did not want anyone to die," she said quietly. Elder smiled. "And that, little one, is exactly what makes humans special." 10 years had passed since the day that changed everything. The sanctuary had been rebuilt, bigger and more beautiful than before. But now it was not just a place. It was a place for both species, a symbol of their new friendship. Stood at the center of the great hall, wearing a dress that combined human and styles. Glowed on her shoulder, the same loyal companion she had been since that first night in the cave. Around them, hundreds of humans and gathered to witness this historic moment. Today was the 10th anniversary of the Compassion Accord, the treaty that had brought peace between the two peoples. At 18 years old, was no longer the scared little girl who had gotten lost in a dust storm. She was now an ambassador, the youngest in human history. Her official title was Guardian of the, but most people simply called her the Bridge. Because that was what she was, a bridge between worlds, a bridge between hearts. Stood in the crowd, proud of his little sister. He was 26 now, a diplomat who spent his days traveling between human and communities, solving problems and building connections. He had his own companion now, a playful blue creature named who loved to hide in his coat pockets. Their parents and sat in the front row. Their farm had become a model for human cooperation. Technology helped them grow crops faster, while human creativity helped them develop new varieties that both species could enjoy. They were not rich, but they were happy. Elder sat in a place of honor, his old body supported by a special chair that floated above the ground. He was very weak now, his time growing short, but he had refused to miss this day. He wanted to see his life's work celebrated. Even Commander was there, though he sat in the back, his head bowed with shame. After the attack 10 years ago, he had been sentenced to spend his life rebuilding what he had destroyed. At first, he had been full of anger and hatred, but years of working alongside humans had changed him. He had seen their kindness, their courage, their love. Slowly, grudgingly, he had begun to understand what Elder had always known. The ceremony began with a moment of silence for those who had died in the attack, both humans and had lost friends and family that day. They mourned together as one people. Then Governor, now much older but still sharp as ever, took the stage. 10 years ago, we almost lost everything. Two species, living as neighbors, came within one moment of destroying each other, but we were saved by the most unlikely hero, a lost little girl who found an injured creature and decided to help. She smiled at. That simple act of kindness set off a chain of events that none of us could have predicted. It showed us that humans are not so different. It showed us that love is not weakness but strength. It showed us that the future belongs to those who build bridges, not walls. Felt her cheeks grow warm as everyone looked at her. Even after 10 years, she was not comfortable with all the attention. She would rather be in the sanctuary, playing with than standing on a stage being praised. But she understood why this ceremony was important. The peace between humans and was still young and fragile. There were still those on both sides who did not trust the other. Events like this helped remind everyone why the peace was worth protecting. When it was her turn to speak, stepped forward with glowing bright beside her. She had practiced her speech many times, but now the words felt wrong. They felt too formal, too distant. So she set aside her notes and spoke from her heart. I was 8 years old when I found. I was scared and lost and alone. She was hurt and dying. We had no reason to trust each other. We could not even speak the same language. But we found something that did not need words. We found love. She paused, looking out at the crowd of humans and sighed by side. I have learned many things in the past 10 years. I have learned about history and culture. I have learned about diplomacy. I have learned how to give speeches and negotiate treaties and represent my people on the galactic stage. But the most important thing I have learned is something I already knew when I was 8 years old. Chirped softly and stroked her glowing head. Love is the answer. It sounds simple. It sounds naive. Some of you are probably rolling your eyes right now. A few chuckles came from the audience. But it is true. Every problem we have solved, every bridge we have built, every wound we have healed started with someone choosing love over fear. She looked at Elder, who was smiling with tears in his eyes. They tried to remove emotion from their society because they thought it made them weak. But emotions are not weakness. They are what connect us to each other. They are what make life worth living. They understood this all along. They responded to human emotions because those emotions were strong and real and true. They showed what had been missing from their lives for thousands of years. She looked at her parents, holding hands in the front row. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. We hurt each other. We go to war over things that do not matter, but we also love deeply. We forgive generously. We hope fiercely. These are not primitive traits to be ashamed of. These are our greatest gifts. She looked at her brother, standing tall and proud with peeking out of his pocket. 10 years ago, my brother walked into enemy territory, knowing he might die because he loved me too much to let me face danger alone. That is humanity. That is what we bring to the galaxy. Finally, she looked at the who filled the air above the crowd, their lights creating a rainbow of colors. Saved my life when Commander attacked. She did not hesitate. She put herself between me and death because she loved me. A creature from another species who had known me for only a few weeks was willing to die for me. If that is not proof that love transcends all boundaries, I do not know what is. She stood up, her voice growing stronger. We are here today to celebrate 10 years of peace, but I do not want to just celebrate the past. I want to build the future. There are other species in the galaxy, other cultures, other worlds. Some of them are watching us right now, trying to decide if humans can be trusted. She spread her arms wide. So let us show them who we are. Let us show them that humanity does not conquer but connects. Let us show them that love is the strongest force in the universe. Let us show them that any barrier can be broken, any wound can be healed, any darkness can be lit, if we just choose to care. The crowd erupted in applause. Humans and stood together, cheering for the young woman who had changed their world. After the ceremony, escaped to her favorite spot in the rebuilt sanctuary. It was a small garden where the most delicate liked to rest. Flew around, greeting her old friends. Elder found her there. His floating chair moved slowly through the garden, careful not to disturb the creatures. That was a good speech, he said. Shrugged, I did not say anything special. You said everything that mattered. The old alien reached out and took her hand. His skin was cold and papery, but his grip was still strong. I do not have much time left, child. My body is failing. Felt tears spring to her eyes. Do not say that. It is just truth. Live long but not forever. He smiled at her. I am not sad. I have lived long enough to see my dream come true. When I was young, I believed humans and would destroy each other. Now I know we will save each other. He squeezed her hand. You made that possible. A lost child with a big heart. Never forget what you are capable of. 2 months later, Elder passed away peacefully in his sleep. The whole planet mourned. Humans and alike gathered to honor the alien who had believed in them when no one else did. spoke at his funeral. She did not give a long speech. She simply told the story of how a wise old alien had protected a scared little girl and taught her that love could change the world. Years passed. The peace held. Humans and built new cities together, discovered new technologies together, explored new stars together. They thrived, their population growing as they bonded with caring people of both species. Became the most famous human in the galaxy. She traveled to 100 worlds, spreading the message of love and connection. She helped negotiate peace between species who had been enemies for. She became known as the Mother of Bridges. But she never forgot where she came from. Every year, on the anniversary of the dust storm, she returned to 442B. She walked to the cave where she had found. She sat in the darkness and remembered the scared little girl she used to be. Was always with her. They had grown bigger over the years, but she still fit perfectly in his arms. Her light had never faded. Their bond had never weakened. "Do you remember?" whispered to her old friend. "Do you remember how scared we were?" Made a soft sound and pressed her head against his cheek. "We did okay, did we not? A lost human child and an injured alien pet. We did okay." Outside the cave, the sun was setting on 442B. The sky turned purple and gold and pink. Somewhere in the distance sang their evening songs. Closed her eyes and listened. She thought about her brother, now a grandfather with a family of his own. She thought about her parents, long past but never forgotten. She thought about Elder, whose wisdom still guided her every day. She thought about all the people she had helped, all the connections she had made, all the love she had spread across the stars. And she smiled, because it had all started with one simple choice. A scared little girl, alone in the dark, had found something that was hurt, and instead of walking away, she had decided to help. That was the human way. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not weapons, not technology, not conquest. Just love, simple, powerful, endless love. And in the end, that had been enough to change everything.